Coming up on today's show, a new Jalen Hurts injury update. We're going to dive in and dissect the type of impact that Kevin Byard can have, and could the Philadelphia Eagles make another trade? All of that coming up right now on Eagles Now. Welcome into the show. Hope all of you out there are having a fantastic week. Roan is a fantastic sponsor, and they're making today's Eagles Now possible. We'll tell you more about what Roan has to offer coming up here in just a little while, but I'm wearing one of their shirts once again, and it's absolutely fantastic for my wardrobe. Let's begin here with the latest Jalen Hurts injury update. So he kind of dealt with that injury during the game against the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football, and he was seen wearing a knee brace, saying right now that he's kind of taking it day by day, getting accustomed to playing with that knee brace, because anytime you're a little bit restricted in that knee, you're just thrown off a little bit with how you maneuver and move, especially given the playing style of Jalen Hurts. The good news is, here in the middle of the week on this Wednesday, as Philadelphia gets set to take on the Commanders on the road at FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland on Sunday, is that Sirianni said that he's optimistic that Jalen Hurts is going to be able to play. And the exact quote from Nick Sirianni is that we're confident that Jalen Hurts is going to be ready to go. And I think this is the indication that we've gotten all throughout this week after that impressive win against Miami, is that Hurts is dealing with something that did not happen in that Dolphins game. It happened before that, and this is something that he might have to deal with over the next couple of weeks, but it's not serious enough to keep Jalen Hurts out of the lineup. And, of course, when we talk about these Hurts injuries, because you look at his career up to this point, he has dealt with a few of them. Everybody kind of pins it on the argument that he has to become a thrower and less of a runner, because when he runs the football too much, that's when he gets injured. And that topic was brought up today at the NovaCare complex. And here's what Hurts had to say about kind of the myth, but some of the facts that lead into Hurts being injury prone because of his playing style. He defended how he plays, and he defended how his injuries have happened, saying, I don't think I've ever been banged up as a runner. All of my injuries have come in the pocket. But while that's a little bit true, and a lot of injuries for quarterbacks do happen inside the tackles, remember the shoulder injury against the Chicago Bears last year? That injury happened when all of the weight from a defender landed on Jalen Hurts' throwing shoulder, and it happened on a designed quarterback run. And I hated the play call at the time, because at that point of the regular season, you're gearing up for the playoffs. You're the number one seed in the NFC. Why are you running injury-prone plays and design runs for Jalen Hurts on a designed quarterback draw? Didn't make sense at that time. So there's no doubt that the Eagles have protected Hurts more this year with their play calling, because you see that they're calling less design runs as compared to last year when an injury like that happens against the Chicago Bears. We've also seen that Hurts has protected himself when he's run the football. He isn't taking the hits that he usually does. He's not going into contact like he has in years prior, and you can tell that he's intentionally kind of shielded himself from some of those unnecessary hits that he's taken in years previous. So he might defend his playing style and say, I don't think I've ever been hurt when I've been running the football. Well, you have, but you could also admit, Jalen, that you're playing a little bit more cautiously this year as compared to years past, and that's what happens when an organization makes a $255 million investment in you. Speaking of Sunday's game against those commies, who you got? PHI for the Eagles, WAS for the Washington Commanders. Their longtime defensive lineman, Jonathan Allen, said after a loss to the New York Giants this past week that he's sick of this shit. 7 years of it. Well, Jonathan Allen, in my opinion, I think the Eagles win, and I think there's going to be another week of you being frustrated with the Commanders taking another L. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to explain how Kevin Byard can have an impact for this Eagles defense. Also, could the Birds be making another big trade? Stay tuned for that. But first, as I mentioned off the rip, Philadelphia Eagles Now is presented by Roan. We have a great deal for the Bird Gang, 20% off when you use the code CHATSPORTS. And what I love about Roan, first of all, these shirts look good, they feel good, they're so comfortable, but also high-quality men's clothing, breathable and stretchable fabric. Look at this. I absolutely love shirts that can stretch like this and have the breathable type of fabric. I'm done wearing cotton because it's cheap. It wears down over time. These shirts are very durable. There's no need to spend money on going to the dry cleaner because the more that you wear these shirts, wrinkles release over time. They have anti-odor technology, which is really cool. And the Roan Commuter Collection, and I'm wearing their commuter button-up, has everything from dress shirts, polos, pants, and shorts. So for the Fly Eagles Fly family, the promo code is ChatSports. The deal is 20% off site-wide if you go to roan.com/chatsports. We'll put that link down below in the comment section as well as in the description of this video. Coming up next here on the show, the impact of Kevin Byard as Howie Roseman makes another big splash and trades for one of the best safeties in the National Football League. Byard practicing with Philadelphia for the first time on Wednesday. That tells me that maybe the Eagles are going to try to get him involved in the game plan for Sunday's game against Washington. Here he's seen at his locker room at the NovaCare complex. He's going to be rocking the number 31, which is his number and has been his number throughout his entire NFL career with the Tennessee Titans. And I think the impact of the player, this has potential to be a sizable move and an impactful move for Philadelphia, considering the player, what he brings to the table, the Eagles addressing a massive weakness, giving up nothing except for late-round picks in Terrell Edmunds, and the overall style that Byard brings to this defense under a defensive coordinator in Sean Desai, who I think's done a masterful job up to this point in his second full season as a play caller in the NFL and in his first season as the Eagles defensive coordinator. For Byard, first of all, he brings you a lot of experience, right? We're talking about a two-time All-Pro who's been in the league since 2016. He has not missed a game of action in those 8 years and has more than 100 starts. And while some scouts believe that he's lost some of his juice and some of his athleticism and some of his speed, what he's lost maybe in that category, the instincts make up for it. Kevin Byard is known as a ball hawk, a guy who can read the eyes of the quarterback, pick apart the scheme so that he can jump those routes to pick off passes. And that's one thing that he's done really well in his career is intercepting the football. And he is an obvious upgrade over Terrell Edmunds and Justin Evans. Much better player who's still one of the best safeties in the NFL over two guys who are fringe roster players in the National Football League. And then more so on Byard here, his Pro Football Focus grade of 92.3 in coverage since 2020 is the highest among all defensive backs. Speaking of those ball skills, co-leader in the NFL for interceptions back in 2017, and he has the versatility to play everywhere. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Sean Desai, who has a good scheme, he gets aggressive when he needs to. We're seeing player development for young players on this defense, like a Jalen Carter and a Jordan Davis who are taking that next step. We're seeing continued great play out of a guy like Fletcher Cox. We're seeing Josh Sweat continue to emerge as a top 5 edge rusher in the game. We see Desai do something against Miami that Jonathan Gannon would never do. And we're seeing the growth and development of Hassan Reddick as a run stuffer, which we never thought was going to happen. So you put Byard on this defense, and I think it really adds a lot to what Philadelphia can show and display on that side of the ball. I do want to spend some moments talking about the versatility because this goes into what I just got done talking about, how he can be used as a chess piece. I know the apple of everybody's eye was a Budda Baker. Younger player, better athlete, little bit younger. He's versatile, right? So is Byard, though. You look at his snap alignment in 2023, 87 snaps out of the slot, 171 at free safety, and 129 in the box. A lot of people really like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. C.J. Gardner-Johnson did a lot of this for Philadelphia, and he was a game changer for that Eagles defense. Byard can do it as well. And then his snap alignment in 2022, full season sample size, 201 snaps out of the slot, 506 at free safety, 393 at box safety. So you can literally plug him and play him wherever you want to. And we talked about the coverage grade since 2020, the highest among all DBs at north of 92. Here are his Pro Football Focus grades among safeties over the last 4 years. 2022, first. 2021, first. 2020, 14th. And then 2019, 5th. So some people think, yeah, he's aging a little bit. Well, the last 2 years going into 2023, number 1 Pro Football Focus grade among all safeties in the NFL. And again, coverage is what he brings to the table too, which is important in this pass-happy league. And then lastly with Byard. I mean, Howie Roseman continues to crush it. I saw a great video the other day. It was Howie Roseman in a montage of clips, and the music base layer was Many Men by 50 Cent. Many men wish death upon me. Like, Howie Roseman is just an OG among all executives at the NFL level right now. He's pulling off highway robbery after highway robbery. And look at all the value here for some really important players on this Eagles team and what the Eagles have given away for what they've gotten back. A.J. Brown, best wide receiver in the game right now for a 1st and 3rd round pick. Darius Slay for a 3rd and a 5th. He's an all-pro Pro Bowl caliber cornerback who's a game changer on the outside at a really important position. You had a massive need at safety. You bring in Kevin Byard for a 5th and 6th round pick and Terrell Edmunds, who stinks. And then running back DeAndre Swift for a 4th and a swap of 7th round picks. I know that Many Men is a great 50 Cent song, but so too is the one with 50 Cent in the game. This is how we do, and this is how Howie Roseman is just cooking up great trades right now. So if you're excited about the Kevin Byard trade, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. A lot of you know I'm from Westchester, and you're like, damn, Chase is pulling out 50 Cent songs. I got a lot to my bag. That's no cap. Could another trade come for Philadelphia here? The buzz is that Howie Roseman might not be done in trying to bolster this roster and make another move. Because even after the Kevin Byard trade, Eagles could potentially be scouring the market, especially after the Commanders game, because the NFL trade deadline is on Tuesday, Halloween, October 31st. New York Post with this, that the Eagles are thin at cornerback. Darius Slay is 32. James Bradbury is 30. They're elite options at that position. However, the Eagles have been plagued with various injuries this season, could be looking for more cornerback depth. So they're talking about a corner here, but then they shift gears and they talk about a familiar Eagle and a former Eagle great who helped lift the first ever Lombardi trophy in the history of this organization and the only Lombardi trophy in the history of this organization. How about this one? Another move that may entice Howie Roseman, bringing back tight end Zach Ertz. The Cardinals put Ertz on IR with the quad strain, but he could fit in nicely as a backup to Dallas Goedert when healthy. So Ertz on IR right now. I know that people grew crazy when he didn't have an ability to break tackles, and with Arizona, he's even a little bit weaker in his lower half, but still a very solid backup pass-catching tight end who gives you another wrinkle and another weapon in that pass game, because Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra, not really offering you that much in the pass game right now. This year, before the injury, 27 catches, 187 yards, and a touchdown. Bad quarterback play with Josh Dobbs. So that's at tight end. There aren't really a lot of middle-tier cornerbacks available. We've talked about some here on the show, though. I do want to talk about backup running back, because a lot of Eagles fans have been talking about this position specifically. The Eagles' run game has really struggled the last couple of weeks. I think that coincides with the Cam Jurgens injury. Yards have been hard to get. If you bring in a player like Derrick Henry, he doesn't even need to operate with that much space opened up by the offensive lineman. He's so physical, he's so strong that he can make some of those difficult yards into easy yards. And he can go from Kenneth Gainwell picking up a yard because he's a little bit slighter to him making a 2nd and 10 turn into a 2nd and 6, a 2nd and 5, just like that behind this offensive line once Jurgens gets back. There's word that the Tennessee Titans might have a fire sale. They already traded away Kevin Byard. You have that working relationship with this organization because you had contact with them in making that move for A.J. Brown. If they want to shed that salary for Derrick Henry and he can be used as a backup running back at a position that you could use right now, I'd kick the tires on Derrick Henry for the proper asking price. A.J. Dillon, a physical back who brings some of those same physical elements to the table. And then Joshua Kelly kind of on the outside looking into that running back rotation with the Los Angeles Chargers. For Henry this year, he's still been good, and that Titans offensive line is awful. Andre Dillard signed that multi-year contract with Tennessee, already benched. And that offense has been atrocious. They're already on their third quarterback this year. The plan is to have Will Levis, the rookie out of Kentucky, start this week because Ryan Tannehill is hurt. Malik Willis is what he is. So Derrick Henry is probably like, yo, get me out of here. Twilight of my career. Let me go to a Super Bowl contender. He still has 98 carries for 425 yards. And recently, I've seen him break off a couple of runs where he still looks like he has some giddy up. 3 touchdowns this year, a long of 63, so he still has some of that getaway speed. In 6 of 7 seasons, remember this, Howie Roseman has made an in-season trade. That includes making this deal the other day for Kevin Byard. So do not rule out Howie Roseman scouring the market, kicking the tires once more, and looking to make another move. What do you think? Will Howie Roseman make another trade? If so, who's he going to target? Share your thoughts. Drop us a name or names down below in the comment section. And as you venture down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button.